Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Today, we're going to be taking a look at several clips of a fat activist talking about how they refuse to be weighed at the doctor's office. Being obese is beautiful and there's nothing wrong with it, other than the way that society treats you and everything, but don't you dare tell me my weight! I guess. Please be sure to check out a video I released on my second channel over the weekend about an alpha male who goes on an alpha male podcast and starts melting down. Here's a link. Before we proceed, please click the like button so that I may apply comb to mustache.
I seem to be having a lot of examples of things that happen when I refuse my weight at the doctor's office. Another one happened this morning and I want to share it with you.
How often are you going to the doctor?
If you've been around since last summer, you know that I started struggling with chronic migraines, and through testing, they found a small aneurysm. I'm fine, they're not related, but I do go to a neurologist pretty frequently to figure out what kind of medications are beneficial to alleviate those symptoms.
Okay, so that's why you're constantly at the doctor?
So this morning I had a follow-up appointment and I was taken back by the nurse and she asked me, do you know your current weight or can I weigh you? And I have to give her credit. That is much better than just saying hop on the scale.
I say hop on the scale as a nurse, personally. I'm not a nurse, but when I'm posing as a nurse, sometimes like I do for fun on the weekends, I say hop on the scale.
But to her surprise, I said neither actually. What do you mean neither? I said I don't know my weight and no, you may not weigh me.
Okay, why are you here?
I think I just threw her off and she didn't know how to respond and she started to get a little bit anxious, a little bit stressed.
What? Are you sure? Are you sure you're not the one that was getting anxious and stressed?
Saying, I don't know if that's gonna work. And I stood my ground and I let her process it, figure it out. I could feel the tension and the defensiveness starting to rise to the surface. I was ready. I had back pocket phrases, statements, things that I have had on my person for a really long time.
Back pocket phrases are phrases that you anticipate using when you go to the doctor, such as, no, I don't want to know what my weight is.
Waiting for moments like these. I just gave her some time and I was compassionate from the perspective of, you know, this is probably not something she hears often. And
it's weird that you're talking about her like she's the one that has some kind of disease or something and you're trying to let her down easy. You sure you're not the one that was all anxious and neurotic because you just told the nurse, no, I can't jump on the scale?
And this is not how she wanted to start her day. So she then asks the receptionist. Now, thankfully, again, it's 7:30, so there's barely anyone there, but she yells to the receptionist asking, is insurance still giving us a hard time for not having full vitals on people's claims? Like, the receptionist didn't have an answer. She kind of seemed confused. This nurse was still very frustrated, and so I said, I could just write refused because I am refusing.
Why though? A lot of fat activists don't want to see the numbers on the scale, just like this person, which is really weird because if big is beautiful and it's only the way that society treats you and all this stuff that's bad, then why are we triggered by seeing the numbers on the scale? Just so you know, it doesn't change your weight or make it go away if you don't see the numbers on the scale. You're literally just going like this. How can we claim to be fat positive and a fat liberationist and all this stuff, but we literally cannot even look at the numbers on the scale that represent our actual weight? I can't imagine being like, don't show me the numbers on the scale, and then not seeing myself as having a serious personal problem. Can you imagine a short guy going to the doctor and when they go to do the height thing, he's like, no! Last time I checked, I'm 6'2". I don't want to hear any different.
I think she was hoping that by that point, I would have just given in and people pleased and said, it's okay. You know what? Fine. Just weigh me.
She probably was giving you like 5 minutes to fatigue out of the argument and then eventually cave in.
Not a big deal, but no. No, no, no. I am there to receive a service. If it's something that triggers me and causes me a lot of distress, it is absolutely a boundary I'm holding. We go back to the room, just continuing to kind of complain about insurance. I took that open door and just went with the fact that I'm a therapist and—
You're a therapist and you cannot see your own weight. For the love of God, do not show me my own weight.
And
How many fat positive therapists are there these days? Good mental health is confronting your issues until they no longer bother you. You say, hey, why is this one topic bothering me so much? Why don't I explore that? Why don't I confront the issues head on? You don't say, this is triggering me, I can't see it ever again. La 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 la.
Intentionally don't use insurance because of how terrible they are and how they treat providers. And
So insurance wouldn't cover you?
Clicked with that, and we just went off. We talked for 5 or 10 minutes about how awful insurance is, how they make decisions that shouldn't even be legal for them to make, all of these things. And then she went as far as talking about how she doesn't understand why anyone even needs to collect weight.
So she was frustrated initially, and then you talked about insurance sucking, and now she's on your side, and she's like, you know what? You're right. Why are we even collecting your weight? What are we even doing here? I should go to you. You're a proper doctor.
Validating how stupid it is. And then shared some of her own experiences of being weighed for no reason and it causing a lot of damage.
Being weighed doesn't cause a lot of damage. Not knowing your weight when you're getting into an unhealthy territory is causing a lot of damage and is dangerous. Some people don't even know how bad it's gotten until they see that number on the scale. So I think we should step on the scale occasionally. Keep ourselves grounded in reality.
The situation really took a turn, and I didn't need to use any of those phrases that I had prepared. I didn't need to get defensive. I didn't need to educate or bring her awareness to something. She already had the awareness.
You didn't need to educate the nurse when you went to the doctor's office to get their help. That's good. When I went to the optometrist, thank God I didn't have to lecture him on the complexities of glasses or whatever. Thank God he kind of knew what he was doing.
Just needed to give her some time and compassion that her reaction had nothing to do with me. It was strictly the pressure that she has received from insurance companies.
And it's also annoying. You know, she was annoyed, let's be real.
Keep those phrases in your back pocket. Hold your boundaries. You don't always have to go in guns blazing. It can be just as beneficial for you and the other person to take a deep breath, give them some grace and compassion, and allow time for them to figure out what it is they need to do in a situation like that.
Okay, so we need to patronize people, pat them on the head, be like, listen, I know that me not wanting to get on the scale is blowing your mind right now, numbnuts, but it's gonna be all right. Here, let me pat you on the head. You'll be fine, nurse. Go back to your work.
I think maybe most importantly, reminding yourself that someone else's reaction or response to a boundary you have set has nothing to do with you.
Yes, keep externalizing all the things that happen to us. Nothing is our own fault, ever.
And everything to do with them.
Alright, so that was just one of 3 clips that I have where she's talking about this same topic. Next, now she's going to be responding to this comment that reads, what are some of the phrases that you have in your back pocket? I would like to do this, but I always get nervous and lose everything in my head. I have to practice a lot.
I'm so glad you asked because I have a bunch. 1, a simple no thank you. 2, not today.
Okay, we're going to memorize a bunch of phrases that we can use when the doctor or nurse wants to weigh us. How much time did you spend memorizing these phrases and rehearsing them in your head?
3, I'm not comfortable getting weighed, so I'm going to pass. If I receive pushback, the back pocket response I have is, if the provider really finds it necessary for me to be weighed today, I will talk to them about it. That's it. If then I'm talking.
And then what if they say, it is necessary for you to be weighed today? Then what?
To the provider. It provides more privacy and confidentiality in talking through why I don't want to be weighed. Plus, typically the provider knows my history, knows me well. I can at least have a conversation with them, have them understand where I'm coming from. If the doctor is able to provide me with a legitimate answer as to why my weight is required, and the legitimacy is based on your own discretion, but for me it would be like, I want to see peer-reviewed research as to why this is necessary.
You want the doctor to break out research papers during your visit. This is a doctor, so you kind of have to assume that they've done a little bit of research into peer-reviewed studies. I would hope so. I would hope that's part of getting a doctorate. You're treating the doctor like some random numbnuts that you're arguing with online. Provide me the research. The doctor should be like, what do you think I was doing for those 8 years in medical school, bro? Like, I was looking at research and shit.
Then I will request a blind weight. Okay, you can weigh me, but my back needs to be to the scale and I...
Why? That doesn't change your weight if you don't see the number. It just makes you ignorant to it. No, doctor, I don't want to hear about how my liver has cirrhosis, you idiot. Drinking is fine. What? I don't want to hear this.
I don't want it listed anywhere where I can see it. And then if I'm experiencing weight stigma with a provider, some back pocket phrases that I use are, if a patient in a smaller body presented with the exact same symptoms that I'm sharing with you today, what would you tell them?
If you tried to argue with me at all as a doctor, I would just throw you out. That's what I would do. Dr. Cynical is not putting up with that.
Or, I'm actually not here to talk about my weight. I'm here to talk about blank. Or, I didn't come to you for nutrition advice, and if that's something you feel that I need to be a part of my treatment, I'd be happy to look into working with a dietitian. Depending on your relationship with the person, even...
I hope all of your clients as a therapist give you the same exact type of pushback that you're giving to these doctors. When you're like, gee, I don't know, I think maybe some of these issues stem back to your childhood. I hope that person is like, what? Let me see the peer-reviewed studies, you moron. What the hell are you even talking about? Therapist? What the hell? You don't know shit. Hopefully your clients talk to you like that, just the way you talk to doctors. And then you can be like, wait, why are you even here?
In the way that in which they're talking with you, I think it's perfectly reasonable to say something like, the discussion of weight is off the table. All of these things can be said both assertively and kindly. They're not mutually exclusive. Just because you are sticking up for yourself doesn't mean what you're saying, what you're verbalizing is coming across aggressively. It's not always negatively confrontational. I think that that is a balance that's hard to find and something that takes a lot of practice. Let me know which one was your favorite.
All right, my favorite was, I think I'll be weighed backwards today, or whatever the hell. I don't know. I wasn't really paying attention to the specifics, honestly. I started spacing out. But the general bulletin point that I'm getting from this presentation is that she will not be weighed at the doctor's office. I've said this in terms of people's physical appearance before, but now I'll use this phrase in terms of somebody's mental health. If I want your results, then I'll take your advice. Next. All right, now she's going to be responding to this comment that says, what an amazing experience and so uncommon. I do a blind weight when I go to the doctor, but it means I never check my after visit summary. I'm going to do this instead.
Yes, blind weight is definitely an option, but I've noticed that even then, there's such a high possibility and probability that that number is going to show up somewhere where you're going to see it. And if the whole point of not seeing it on the scale during the appointment is for you to not know it, then it kind of defeats the purpose as well.
Okay. I still have the question of why can't we see how much we weigh? Am I also not allowed to view the results of my IQ test because it might make me sad? I'm dumber than I thought, damn it.
Some things that I say when I'm going to a doctor's visit and the nurse brings me back is just a simple and polite, like, no wait for me. Or if someone says, hop on the scale, I'll say, no, thank you.
You should say, you hop on the scale, stupid. Just mess with them. If you're going to be annoying at the doctor, you may as well have fun with it, right? Like, you step on the scale. How high is your blood pressure, doc?
Some days I'll say, I'm going to skip weight today. And the most pushback I have received is an eye roll or a little bit of like, I know that that can be really painful for a lot of people.
That eye roll is sending me spiraling, man.
When I reframe it for myself, that is a them issue and not a me issue.
Yeah, we keep reframing everything in our lives that it's a them issue, not a me issue, which is why we are where we are in life.
And that I am there to get a service and I am paying for a provider. And it is my right as a patient, it kind of takes away the heaviness of that sigh. I hope that you have just as positive of an experience when you refuse your weight next time.
I hope if you refuse to get weighed, the doctor just throws you out. They're like, why are you even here? That's like going to the mechanic and refusing to let them check the oil. You're like, no, no, you don't. Get your hand away from that dipstick. No, you don't. The oil's fine. It does not need to be changed. Shut up. Okay, so I'll just reiterate that if you can't look at your own weight on the scale, you might have some mental problems to work on. Now we're going to be taking a look at a bonus clip.
I used to hate my body. I did everything I could to shrink and hide her. Society told me daily.
Look at her down there pretending to be all emotional and looking up to the side. Hold on, look.
And hide her. Society told me daily that she wasn't good enough, that she wasn't worthy of being seen. So I punished her with grueling workouts.
You punished your body with grueling workouts, and now you don't. You know, that's weird. I did a jog the other day, and it was difficult, but it was also super good for my heart and lungs. You're not punishing your body by working out. It's actually good for you. Good thing we no longer punish our bodies with workouts, and now we take care of our body by eating whatever we want and never exercising. Another funny thing about that is that all of the people in this movement claim to have previously been all into fitness and all this. I used to do this, and this. But I say, picture it didn't happen. You all have the same questionable origin story.
Juice cleanses and pretty disgusting frozen low-calorie foods.
Okay, I wouldn't recommend the frozen foods.
Oh, and lots of guilt. Eventually, I recognized that I was struggling and this was not a sustainable way to live.
So you stopped caring about all the stuff that you used to care about randomly without changing anything. That's weird how we can just do that.
Through a lot of healing work, I found appreciation for my body, for all the incredible things she does to take care of me.
Your body does not take care of you. You're supposed to be taking care of her. I hear that phrasing a lot in the fat acceptance movement. My body has done so much for me. Now it's time to take care of her by eating very dangerous food that's harming me. Okay, that's weird. I got a different way of taking care of my body.
She doesn't withhold her abilities based on how she thinks I look day to day. She doesn't punish me with an illness.
These facial expressions and the way that she is speaking right now are the fakest shit. This is so contrived. This is so manipulative. Look how happy I am. Watch me smile into the camera with a super real smile that's not demented at all.
Abilities based on how she thinks I look day to day. She doesn't punish me with an illness after...
She doesn't punish you with an illness? Hold on, let's hear some of this completely insane stuff you're saying.
Today, she doesn't punish me with an illness after comparing me to another body.
What? Mine doesn't do that either, I guess.
So why would I not show up for her in the same unconditional ways? I found that it's not about finding her attractive at all anymore. In fact, I've removed that from the equation entirely.
You don't care about being attractive at all anymore. Other human beings can't just turn that off like that. That's weird. You truly are an enlightened being. You and this guy next to you.
Instead, it's about loving her, caring for her, meeting her needs, the same way I would anyone else I love. And that love doesn't fluctuate based on how attractive I find the people in my life. So it no longer holds value in how I treat my body either. I love her, and you can love yours too.
Okay, well, if you love her and you want to take care of her, then I would recommend eating right and exercising because that's actually good for you. Obviously, I disagree with all of the aforementioned. If you just can't look at the number on the scale or know what your weight is, that's because you have a lot of mental issues around the topic of weight that you need to address. If that number is so triggering to you and you hate that number so much, change it. If you have tried in the past to change it and failed, take a different approach. So what do you think of the clips that we just saw? Is it completely insane and neurotic to refuse to be weighed at the doctor's office? Is it punishing your body to work out and eat right? Leave a comment below. Happy Thursday, everybody. Anyway, that about does it. Thanks for watching, commenting, liking, and subscribing. And I'll see you in the next one.